Good morning, this is Sandro Fermo again, and this morning I'm going to recite yet another story from my book, Blue Auburn, Short Stories by the Canadian Writer, and there it is right there, and that's my picture right there. And this one's called Squirgy the Spider. It's about a boy playing in a shack in his backyard. So here we go. First of all, I'll start off with this in the background. Good morning, Enya. After all, it is dedicated to an Irish Prime Minister. Guess who that one was. There was a certain devotion, there was a certain humorous devotion in Squirgy, despite his eyes that Friday morning, when Jesus died. For Squirgy had awoken from his temporary deathbed in order to secure his awakenings that made him good, trod upon his noticeable regret that he had to do with him having helped to slay and yet nurture the beast within, according to a capital disagreement with a conservative flaw. A gardener had just fed a choking dog a bone that was tossed to him by the gardener's leash-ridden advocacy of the born social placements that were falsely superior yet so forthcoming at Squirgy's next meal. Within the shed there was a yellow hard hat near Squirgy's spider's web. They were often golden and crepuscular, when these items shone with a disengaging fear that led him towards a paranoid sense of toiling, regarding so many captured replenishments. For Squirgy the spider was often fed arrogantly by the gardener with flies, moths, and broken worms that dangled heavily upon Squirgy's humble embroidery with such a dismal spoiled charm, because Squirgy just wanted to go about his business and had quite enough of the gardener's donationable inklings, forcing Squirgy to thrash out uselessly at his benefactor's care, with googly eyes and scary leers that had absolutely no response from the gardener's pompous gratitude. Then one day, the spider collapsed under the weight of a great big straggly worm that was half bloody and full of guts. Making the web fall to the floor with an enraged and relieved Squirgy realized he can't escape from the gardener's gratuitous actions because he could change his protected domain within more logistical territorial replacements. Squirgy had resisted for so long upon his web due to the fact that he had created a natural freedom of outstanding creativity that was not naturally being put to the test, for the gardener was just doing his beautiful, wrongly godly work. He was convinced he was playing God. Thus thought Squirgy the spider, it was not God playing the fool, but the gardener who was falsely convinced that he could replace God when things are at their best when they're left alone. That Saturday, while Jesus was spiraling quite suitably towards the heavenly light, Squirgy the spider set off to find a human home, inching away towards the holy tobacco that was his life, striding cautiously asunder from the gardener's shack, within a mental state of perturbing nostalgia as he recoiled his silken thread in order to venture once again towards his contained search for a more predetermined Catholic dictatorial flair. He was motivated by the nobility of altruistic rancor, with an resolving self-enchanting encompassment regarding his inept race that enraptured the silly, materialistic assumptions that surrounded him, while he giggled himself with his merry romp through deserted plains. The spider tucked in his tentacles and began to wonder through the vast unknown aspects of his familiarity with these lands until he had come upon a piece of marble that was a pillar of dubious, 'dubious' 'value. 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 'Dubious' ' of dubious value, but it was slippery when wet, and he could not seem to surpass it, because it was full of self-glorifying perception, and was self-beguiled by its own nationalizing amplification, making it harder to mount this monolith of manners, misconstruing superiority complexes. That was a sorry endeavor, even though when the decay and dust of its Roman surroundings had tried uselessly to reclaim it. SQUIRGY, it made SQUIRGY never gave up, as he found solace within the shade of non-compromising resistance towards the defeated nature, with almost a proletariat sense of his and his fellow spiders' glory regarding the eternity of restrained parlance revolving around this constitutional demise. Finally, and quite humbly, SQUIRGY took another route made of better vegetative surroundings with a birthplace of secret Christian codes and mesmerizing truths that were made out of both ingenuity and a patriotic forethought on a Sunday morning when he had to belong, sung by Leanne, to a Catholic monk's trajectory made out of a tenacious pacifism, with often his own manipulated sense of virginal awkwardness and like an isolated drop from a stream that was definitive within its divine, complacent generational fix, shackling the surrounding flower beds conformist stability, with evocative portrayals of Jesus' birthplace called heaven. End of part one. Now, to continue properly, as quickly and hurriedly, listen to R.E.M. Belong, becoming more dramatic, back in your continue. That this created an absolvement from his misdirected primary functions between the logistical failures in between both heaven and hell. That thwarted his delusions with an all-encompassing intuitive value regarding factual ordeals, with no longer isolating him with an stagnant indignancy, but set him free amongst the enchanted and dark feminine forest of his gracious hospitality that did God quite a favor. Hold on. It's a very special song, because this all happened in 91, 92. Belong. R.E.M. I'll probably write it right. R.E.M. Belong. Video. Here goes. Yep. Belong. Video. Okay. Please excuse the stupid commercial. This created an absolvement from his misdirected primary functions between the logistical failures and between both heaven and hell. That thwarted his delusions with an all-encompassing intuitive value regarding those factual ordeals that no longer isolating him with a stagnant indignancy, but set him free amongst the enchanted and dark feminine forest of his grandiose hospitality that did not God quite a favor. On Monday, when Jesus finally made it home, SQUIRGY no longer relapsed into psychosis without an enchanted religiosity and spiritual mirth near a crispy, clear, golden stream, where we found his interior social status regarding a steadfast positivity nurturing himself with often mediocre takes his leaves, without a monolingual. Frivolity with his disease charm. The sun, the moon, the sea, the stars were all one globalized picture by now. And the universality of a forgiving testament reassured both SQUIRGY and his Savior, Jesus, that only by going in one can go out, only by leaving one can abstain. And only if redemptive decrees of truths are vastly encouraged upon this world, then the both of them can sit on the resident value of a powerless throne, like a threadbare of godly internal quality, regarding the spider's creative aspect of creation. Belong as well to the darkness. Belong as well to any hardy bunch of good people. Belong to the good. Belong to the good willing, to the good faithful at heart. The first and apparent, and above all, belong to yourself. Love the fortitude of ineptitude, recoiling like a serpent in the darkness of a secret aspiring, delinquent hiss. For SQUIRGY, the spider was me, and the gardener was Brian Mulrooney. And what later happened was that I won the battle, and he lost his seat, his throne. Goodbye for now. And that weekend was quite particular. Long story. You guys are digging it now, don't you? Find out, man.